All right. Let's begin with review like we always do. Start with our good on guard, and remember when you're doing your on guard, you want to be wider than maybe you're practicing. It's okay if that's uncomfortable for you. If you can't hold that stance for limitations, that's okay. But if it's making your legs feel exhausted from exercise, get low. That's the point of practice. Get one that's going to give you the mobility you need to increase your sword game, right? So get your good on guard. Let's just do a warm-up walking through our parries. We'll add some lunges, and then we'll go into today's concept. Together, we'll just walk through our entire circle of parries. And remember, we've got our 4 focuses, right? Make sure you step back when you parry, lead with the edge, play by your sense of touch, lunge, parry, recover. So from our on guard, we'll start with just walking through them. Parry 1, bring my hand across, parry 1, on guard, parry 2, hip, tip, opposite hip, on guard, parry 3. Remember, this one makes a wall of steel on your strong side. Now I'm going to step forward to get more room. On guard, parry 4, coming up through my center line, guarding, right? Careful you don't get that big extra whip. Boom, up, 4. On guard, 5. Make sure you cross through your center line. Remember, in a high guard, you've got to get that crescent. In a low guard, you have to still come through the center line. On guard, parry 6, and I'm going to do my modified 6 because I'm working on it. Parry 6, and I'm running out of room. Parry 6, on guard, parry 7, coming over my opponent's blade. It's easier to see in a high guard. 7, but a low guard, you can still come around, right? Parry 8, cross body low. On guard, parry 9. All right, let's walk through our parries. Let's do some lunges for warm up. And then we're going to go over what to do with an opponent who keeps their sword arm extended, right? Remember, these are concepts. These aren't rules. You need to try to find how this improves your ability to deal with your opponent. This isn't a like one shoe fits all, you'll kill someone when you see them like this. That's not how anything works, right? It's just a concept to help you understand where an opponent might be weak due to how they are fighting, right? Okay. Let's work on our lunges. Remember, you want to get that extension that leads into the lunge. Don't lead with the leg, then the arm. So let's get our lunge. Check yourself. Is your knee over your ankle? Is your back leg straight? Did your off arm come with you? Hold that lunge stance for a minute. Feel that your balance is centered, right? We're not leaning forward. We're not leaning back. We're staying nice and centered for this. Don't come out of it yet. Get that leg nice and warmed up. Now recover, and always parry recover. Always parry recover. See, I already started. I did my circle 6 to my recover. Don't forget, parry recover. On guard. Lunge, parry, recover, lunge, different parry, recover, lunge. Oh, I didn't like that one. I felt like I started my leg too much. I'm going to do it again. Lunge, parry, recover, lunge. Haven't I done yet? Parry, recover. Give yourself a good series to walk through. All right, Trav, I need you. So we've got some warm up. We've got something to remind us what we want to keep our emphasis on. You want to need the sword. Right. So again, limited space. We're going to what we got. Someone asked me a question. Welcome my brother Trev. All praise to Trev. Thank you for helping me with this. Step back up against that couch right there. So someone asked me what to do with an opponent who likes to keep their blade extended against you. Now you'll commonly see something that looks like this. Now we have to modify our feet because we're in limited space. But it looks something like this. Now the advantage of this is should my opponent try getting close to me without dealing with the sword first, I will stab them pretty much every time. So if he looks for an opening and goes for it, I can already have him, and my body is fairly out of the way, right? This is a thought process that happens behind an extended guard. I'm fighting you far away from me, so I have time to stab you before you get around me, you have to deal with the blade first. Disadvantages to this. Let me hold your blade real quick. Actually, no, this works with the sword. This works with the sword. Disadvantages to this. If he has an extended arm, he gives up his power in his arm. And I'll show you how this works right now. We're going to bend your arm right here. And we're going mezzo-mezzo, right? No one has a real advantage here in the strength. Now, if we try to push our blades out of the way, who is stronger is going to win, right? So Trav pushed my blade out of the way. I've been doing this a while. I did 159 pull-ups this morning. I've got the forearms for this. I have trained to be good at this. I have the stronger arm, right? When we are both at equal measure, it's just a battle of strength. Who's stronger? That's who's going to win. But when we shift it down low, it changes dramatically. Now, don't let me push you. And when I come in with my full body tilt, I can't move it. This concept of the blade also applies in your arm. Now, use your arm. You can see this one by if he extends his arm fully, right? Extended sword. Now, I want him to keep his hands inside my little box. Come right here. We'll show him what it looks like. So he's going to stay in that box. I'm going to use my pinky to thwart him. So when I come, and just using the weight of my pinky, it's very hard to stay in that box, right? Now, if he bends his arm to here, a parrying arm, right? Same rule. He has to stay inside that box. Same thing, just my pinky. When I come in, and without knowing where it's coming from, he immediately improves his ability to hold that guard, right? You give up your power when you extend. So now,
if I may interject, you may find yourself doing that when in the course of a fight. You may find yourself, especially if an opponent's being aggressive, you may find yourself not doing Spanish style, but your grip extending out. So something to be mindful.
Yeah. Remember that the straighter your arm is, the more you lose that power. The more bent your arm is, the more you gain that power, and like everything, there's a balance. I'm not saying you have to fight from here. You got all this power. Obviously, you're compromising your distance. Nor should you be fighting from here, in my recommendation, and here I'll show you why. Okay, so if my opponent has a fully extended sword, now I've seen a lot of different ways people like to deal with this. I'm going to show you my way, and remember concept over move. This isn't a move. It doesn't work like that. It's a concept that's going to allow me to use the mechanics of a sword, push feet together so we can get as much, and step all the way, yeah, there we go. So we can get as much advantage as we can in the fight. So, we're going to have to go a little diagonal for this, because I need the range to show you how this is done. Because you never perform a move in range. If I'm this close, I'm stabbed already. If I'm trying to defeat my opponent after I've entered their ability to stab me range, I'm fighting a very one-sided fight. I'm going to lose more than I win. So, with my opponent's blade out, I always begin out of range. Now, here is not out of range. I'm still in range, but I'm in a limited environment. So I want you to understand, I'm beginning out of range, about tip to tip. I will begin by entering my opponent's range. If they let me get this far, and they don't do anything, right? No super reactions. My next move is going to be to circle around their sword. Now I'm coming on the outside, see the inside, I'm sorry, the inside of my opponent around to the outside. That's the motion. So I'm out of range, I enter range, and as I do, I come around my opponent's blade, making that much of an action. If my opponent allows me to touch their blade, and generally when someone pushes someone else's blade, the very first thing they do, in practice with a friend, first thing they do is resist, fights back, right? That's the mechanic we're abusing. This is a bind concept that we're going to fiddle with, because again, concepts, right? So, he's got his extended sword, begin out of range, enter range, come up around my opponent's blade. If I get this far, I begin the extension with the lunge. My offhand guards against the most likely disengage point. Make sense? So let me show it to you one more time. Come here, Trav, we'll show him this angle. Let's see, where's the camera? Right there. Okay. So again, from fully extended, I'm always out of range. I enter range, bringing my blade on line with my opponent's, coming around to the outside. Now I make contact. very slight contact so they begin to resist. Because they're worried I'm going to push them around, right? So, I step in, make that contact, come around. If I get this far, I begin the extension, and that's where my off arm goes. One more time, Trev, come from right here. Right there. Okay. And I got my beautiful environment here. So again, I'm out of range, which I can't do from this angle, but I'm going to show you the concept anyway. I enter range. I come around my opponent's blade, right? Up, around, over. Extend my arm. Bring my off arm up. This gives the bind effect. Your opponent feels like you grabbed their blade, but you didn't. You're just using their own resistance at a superior strength angle on your blade to get the bind. And remember, while they have an extended arm, if I can get here and he resists, I'll win. Even if we mesh closer down near his strong point, as long as his arm's extended and my arm is bent, he's gonna have a really hard time pushing me out of the way because he's given up his power. That's the mechanic you're abusing when you do this. So you gotta make sure when you're trying to pull this one off that you're coming in with a bent arm here. There's not a lot of bend, right? There's not a lot of bend, but I still have a bend. And if I get that far, I extend and go. All right, I hope that helps. If you have any more questions, it helps me write these videos. Thanks again, Trev, for your help. Please post something in the comments or let me know. You're the best.